chasing whispers before they all just fade. So how can I leave it all behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust? I will find a this porcelain mirage may start to break. Each piece a reminder, every single little mistake. So how can I leave it all behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust? Tell me why it won't ever be the same. I'll burn it all, no matter who's to blame. I'll find a way. I'll find a way. And every time I close my eyes, a little less of you remains. I know you're slipping further from me now. Am I too far away?
Welcome back, everybody, to the NACL Open Qualifiers coverage brought to you by Aegis, where we are going to be tracking down Lotus Esports throughout the entirety of their run. They now find themselves in the 2-1 bracket. They will be facing down the number 16th seeded BlackRock Esports, a team pretty familiar to us here at Aegis, as we just got to cover them Friday evening. Definitely coming in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulders after having been 5-0 in the last open qualifier and sinking as low as 16th seed here due to the roster changes.
Well, this is a thing as all this time. When you change the players, the ranking goes with the players, not with the org. I think it's fair, but like you were mentioning, it's a team that actually we were able to even catch just before the Yoke started in the ACL, and they performed amazingly well, particularly on the mid lane. Salt was one of the standout players, and I think this could be a really interesting game coming against Lotus, because I feel like one of the most consistent members so far has been Robbie Bob. So in a place where both BlackRock and Lotus do have strength, I want to see how they crash. Hopefully it's an entertaining matchup, not the Karmas of the world or Ways. Well, Way is a bit fun, but Karmas of the world, I hope there's nothing like that. Actual mid laners that they are able to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with Robbie Bob having come off of BlackRock. He was part of that team that went 5-0 last OQ. Now moving on to Lotus. BlackRock trying to rebuild without him. See how they're going to be able to execute there. I was impressed by what they were able to show us Friday night. I think Sushi in the bot lane looked very good, especially. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on him and what he is going to be able to accomplish here. But as we run through the draft, already going to be that Varus ban, trying to limit the bot lane pool. Karma ban comes through for BlackRock. Hovering the Ashe here are Lotus. They're going to lock that in.
And Lotus doesn't seem like a team that it's big on the Senna when you think about it. Like, they've had the chances to take it, but feels like after yesterday, they probably don't want to replicate what happened with the champion as BlackRock going for the Jhin. And I'm a big, and I cannot express how big of a hater I am of the Jhin in its current form. I honestly dislike the champion so much that as soon as someone picks it, I just wish they lose for the sake of not allowing the champion to ever get any opportunity. I just don't think it's the Jhin of before. Its utility is so low comparatively to other champions, and his damage is also really low in comparison to other champions. So like, it's just a cumulative of I don't know what happens in scrims that makes people believe Jhin is good, but they pick it.
Absolutely here, and there's going to be the Xin Zhao Azir lock-ins coming on through. So Lotus going for some more traditional scaling options in the mid lane for Robbie Bob. He's been drawing some of those Azir bans already throughout this open qualifier. And woo, are we going to get to potentially see a Xerath? That gets locked in. Zalt throwing down the gauntlet, wants to play that lane counter to the Azir. Can definitely outrange it, but you got to be watching out for Xin Zhao.
Well, the thing is that now that there's a Xerath, the Jhin and the Maokai, honestly not that bad looking. Well, the Maokai was going to be fine, but the Jhin actually not that bad looking now just because of the range advantage. There's other champions that maybe you could have argued could be better than Jhin in terms of range, but I think with the idea of having that sort of artillery focused comp, these two champions may come in really effectively as the second round of bans comes through, the Olaf, the Milio, the Udyr, and potentially a support here just in case you don't believe the Maokai is going to be the support. Could be the option, but Aatrox instead, not a bad ban overall. But the idea of BlackRock already setting up to be playing around the super long range and not allowing for the Xin Zhao to get on top of them, or even the Azir and the Ashe, I think that Xerath Jhin actually in the long fight may outrange the Azir and the Ashe even. So there's situations in how the fight plays out that can actually end up working out really well. They opt into the K'Sante, and now it's mainly knowing who's going to be the support of BlackRock here.
Yeah, that is absolutely going to be the question. Will it be the Maokai? Will they flex some items around? There's going to be the Gragas locked in. I think that's probably going to be for Porsche in the top lane, and looking at a Rakan to support this Ashe, a powerful engage pick and disengage pick there for Mixture. Definitely do appreciate the respect being paid towards Decoy with those round 2 bans from Lotus, the Udyr, and the Aatrox that we've seen Decoy perform so well on previously. He's now going to be piloting that K'Sante, and now hovering for a jungler for Hive here. They want that Viego, it looks like, and they are going to lock it in. So that will put the Maokai in the support position. A Jhin Maokai bot lane bringing a lot of utility to the table. They're going to be landing up against that Ashe Rakan and trying to make sure they don't just get harassed out too much.
So they do bring another damage dealer to add on top of the damage that they already have, and I feel having a more consistent physical damage dealing champion like the Viego may be better when you take into account that there's a Jhin in the team. That being said, I was thinking maybe something like a Kindred could have been a much better choice, not necessarily because it fights better against the Xin Zhao or anything like that, but having that secondary AD carry and the range that she progressively gets with her marks could have been really ideal for them. But overall, not disliking a lot of the buy from BlackRock's composition. There's things that may end up getting disrupted a lot in fights, and it's going to fall quite heavily on Lotus, particularly on the Rakan, to get the fights going in their favor, because you have to reach that Xerath and Jhin that are going to be super far away from the team.
Absolutely, and we should be able to get into game here pretty darn soon, see just how these comps are going to interact. Here we are. So it will be Lotus now back on the blue side, taking on BlackRock Esports on the red. Seeing if they are going to be able to overcome Zolt's Xerath. I love this spicy counter pick for BlackRock's side. Let's see how they're going to be able to execute on it.
And I gotta be a bit honest here, Gordo. There's a part of me that kind of wants BlackRock to win so that ACL just looks better because they are playing there. That there's this light part of me that kind of wants that to happen, and I'm not even against Salt or Sushi. Honestly, I've been really impressed with Sushi so far when we saw them in the ACL, like you were mentioning, and Salt has been such a consistent performer for them as well.
Yeah, definitely shown us some really good stuff in ACL, so see if they're going to be able to transition that over here to the NACL Q stage. It was calling out in their first match yesterday. They were playing up against the 17th seeded Phoenix 5 that has Shorter Race and Lycanboss on the team, which is the squad that they were able to beat in the Friday match, but it ended up going Phoenix 5's way there in the first game of yesterday. So let's see if BlackRock are going to be able to get their groove back here as they face off against Lotus and try to move themselves up into that top 16. Remember, these teams are both 2-1. Winner here will qualify for top 16, can breathe a sigh of relief as they look to get themselves into the 4-1 bracket.
Yeah, this actually is one of I think one of the closest ones to most important match, because it's either sigh of relief or complete pressure on top of yourself, because if you lose out, it's 2-2 matchups, and whoever loses there just gets completely put in the against the blade. It's going to be quite interesting seeing who's going to perform better, and both teams starting quite controlled, nothing out of the ordinary. Jungler starting on opposite sides and maybe trying to impact a bit of the bot lane here for Lotus.
Absolutely here, and then it's going to be keeping our eyes on what exactly Zolt is going to be able to get for himself in the mid lane. Do love this defensive choice here for Bravi Bob. He's going Grasp of the Undying Azir this game, just to try to be able to get himself a little bit of extra health, get himself a little bit of regen when he can manage to get in range for these trades, knowing that, you know, if you execute on this Xerath effectively, it's really hard to dodge those skills. That's why it's a popular scripting champion for that reason. You can pinpoint right in the center of Arcano Pulse, and it's really, really tough, if not impossible, to dodge.
I think it's one of the most bothersome things coming in those sort of trades. That means that there is quite a good amount of discrepancy in the mid lane in terms of mana, so maybe the early trades are not going to be as bothersome, but we're going to see quite a bit of it in the long run.
Yep. Push achieved for Lotus in the bot lane early on. Looks like they were the first ones to tick level 2, and they do bring a pretty big wave in to crash in, and might just be big enough for them to be able to get the first turret plate straight up here. Yeah, I think so. Just doing a really good job of being able to keep the wave grouped up, clear on out their wave faster, and get multiple waves crashing simultaneously into this tower. This is really tough to farm through for Sushi, and you can see he's already starting to fall behind. If he can't scoop up all those under the turret, which is a tough task for the Jhin, yeah, he's just going to end up behind about a wave worth of CS.
And this is one of the things that Jhin kind of feels really bad when you're playing it, right? Because one of the main things of the Jhin is gaining control of the wave early on with your bouncing grenades and getting the damage down to the minions, and then you just have complete control of whatever happens down there. But when you're losing out on that push, that just means that you're kind of losing one of the quintessential things of the Jhin, and pretty much making it so that you're not finding its true value that you're trying to play with this champion for.
Definitely does feel that way. They are going to be looking to put Sushi behind and keep him behind as long as they possibly can. Both junglers finishing their full clears, taking their recalls, a dead even across the board here in CS. Interesting choice by Odd Orange to grab the Doran's Blade on his recall, though. going to delay his legendary items maybe a little bit, but we'll be looking to get that extra little bit of power in these early trades on his stronger early game jungler. Hive paying a visit towards bottom lane, but seems like Forsen and Mixture are aware of the possibility, and now they know for sure as they see that Scryer's Bloom come on across.
Actually, an interesting adaptation coming in there by Orange to make use of the Doran's Blade, like you're mentioning, more than likely to win those early skirmishes and maybe force himself onto some of the lanes that you probably would love to have that extra bit of damage of the Doran Blade. Also, just looking at the bot lane, quite a bit of discrepancy in terms of CS. The Jin Sushi not having the best of times, and it's not looking like they probably will get a lot going in this early gank.
And they've thrown down so much vision into Hife's side of the jungle there. They've been tracking him for the last several minutes. They know exactly where he is. Every time he pokes his head down here, he may not realize it, but he's wasted his time. Forsen and Mixture playing at a safe distance, well aware of the Viego's presence. And Orange now knows it as well. He's going to start on up these grubbies. Should be able to pick it up for himself as Robbie Bob hits level 6 first and finds himself a nice trade at his ult.
Yeah, trying to go for a bit of the damage there. Now Salt does have the ultimate in his favor. But importantly, because of what happened down there in the bot lane, the grubs do go in favor of Lotus. And there's no answer down here in the bot side. The Jin, Sushi, and Pocus barely can do anything to respond to it because there's no real control down there that they can apply to try and take the dragon. And that's a big issue because one of the main things that we see usually when you take grubs is the opposing team gets the dragon. So that's the trade that you go for. But in this case, it's only victories for Lotus and losing for BlackRock.
Absolutely here. Now, one of the things to look at for Zalt on this Xerath, now that he ticks over to level 6, unlocks Rite of the Arcane, going to be how adept he can be at being precise with those shots. Actually, fight bringing out of the bottom lane will be a disengage for Mixture. But yeah, I mean, landing those shots is now more important than forever because you amp the damage of future shots when you connect onto a champion. So making sure that you're hitting those first couple of shots, they make your later shots a whole lot more important.
And having control for those shots actually matters a lot. So Jin with the roots, the Maokai with the point and click CC, even the Viego that does have a bit of the CC as well, it's going to be quite important for that.
Yeah. You also do have 4 stacks on the level 1 ultimate now. They've kind of bumped up one more stack on each one, so now you get 4, 5, 6 shots.
Oh, wait,
instead of 3, 4, 5. Wow, Pocus stuck underneath the tower there. Looks like he was going for something to try to stop Forsen, perhaps? No, Forsen's been back for forever. Must have just been trying to go for Mixture. Does not work out for him. Ends up underneath the turret. So now Orange has found Hive. Going to try to use this early game dueling power, but looks like he already used that audacious charge. Now will not be able to keep on top of the Viego.
Yeah, looks like he's too fast to be able to catch up to the Viego, but he's still looking around a bit close to hitting that wind,
Wind becomes lightning.
Yeah, wind becomes I was thinking earth, wind and fire for a second there. Wind becomes lightning of the Xin Zhao and not able to stop the back, but looking to be as aggressive as possible there.
Yeah, we're about 7 months early for Earth, Wind, and Fire, but we'll get there.
Sure.
As going to be Robbie Bob getting this wave pushed on in, doing a solid job up against Zalt Xerath so far. Has not been forced out of lane, finds himself at a CS lead. Given that this is supposed to be a lane counter, probably not thrilled with that result if you're a BlackRock fan, but has at least been able to keep the Xerath safe as well, and he's going to be a plenty dangerous scaling pick in his own right, as long as you're able to keep your distance away from these engage tools of Lotus. Use that maximum range that you bring to the table to support the rest of your team and get the resets for Hive, who can be a big carry threat in his own right. Meanwhile, with that bot lane pressure, already a 25 CS lead for Forsen, Orange is going to start up this dragon.
Yeah, exactly. With the control they have, it's just simply moving into the objective, and that's the issue that I find with BlackRock here. They don't really have any control in the lanes. Even when the grubs were being taken by the Orange, at the time, top lane was being controlled by Porsche. And now, when they move down bot side, the control is in favor of both Robbie Bob and Forsen. So it's not like you're losing out on control on the map in bad timings. You get really good movements, and then you get the objectives in your favor. And talking a bit about Zalt Xerath, do you think that he's been missing out on some of the opportunities to actually make Robbie Bob's life harder, but also his back timings haven't been the most optimal and making it so that he doesn't have the recurring mana pool in his favor? We saw multiple times he was staying in lane where he didn't have enough mana compared to Robbie Bob, and then he just simply didn't make use of the trading potential of the Xerath.
Yeah, you really want to try to find auto attacks onto the enemy laner as the Xerath to get yourself that big chunk of mana back. It's kind of a similar deal to what Kassadin has to deal with, right?
Exactly.
You want to land the Nether Blade to be able to get that maximum mana regen. And yeah, it looks like Robbie Bob's been doing a good job of denying those in his own right. There's an all out from Decoy. He seems to think he has a kill angle here. Explosive Cask is available for Porsche. Yeah, he's just going to have to give this one up. Not sure what he was looking for, but really only going to end up taking a little bit of health away, and he shakes off just as much health from himself.
Maybe it's one of those things like in Meganar where you just ulti for the sake of ulting and not actually doing anything with the ultimate, because it's not going to work for Decoy at all. And without ultimate, with no positioning in the river either, it's going to be grubs for Lotus. 6 for 6 in terms of grubs, and also with the Dragon obtained so far 10 minutes of straight up objective domination.
Yeah, Zolt can try to, or Hife rather, can try to snag one away here. Pakis is in the area. They do have Mixture here as well. That's going to be the full 5 grubs already achieved. Over the wall goes Mixture, locking down onto Hife. He's going to get followed up on, and first blood goes to Porsche. Now Robbie Bob finding himself in a fight down in the river, going to jump away, but right of the Arcane is raining down. Zolt misses shot number 1, misses shot number 2, and gets interrupted. Not a great start there for the Xerath. This explosive cast going to knock Decoy deeper into the team. He does not have all out from earlier on, finds himself challenged by the Odd Orange and will be able to get himself out to safety at the cost of his ghost.
Exactly. And wait, what happened here? How did Forsen kill Sushi? Okay, so it's kills all around the map. It looks like for both of these teams, obviously advantage Lotus because they will obtain the final grub down up there. But overall, weird interaction in multiple situations. I want to see, do we have a replay of Sushi dying to Forsen?
All right, we do not have a replay at this time, but I'll say that play in isolation is favorable for BlackRock. I mean, Sushi's been falling behind in that matchup all game long, been getting farmed for turret plates. The fact that they managed to trade 1-for-1 there will give him a little bit closer of a step towards parity. He comes back on in now, wielding that serrated dirk, going to give him a little bit more combat power here, as Forsen still has not yet completed the Blade of the Ruin King.
And with that, with having that extra damage item there, they probably are going to be able to push even more. Already taking down 2 turret plates as well down there. I think the only place that hasn't lost turret plates just yet is the mid lane for BlackRock Esports, and it's because it's just been trading after trading for both of the mid laners. Now actually Salted even just close in terms of CS, but overall, all around the map, it's Lotus control, Lotus domination.
Really good stuff for Lotus here. About 2k gold in the lead with a comp that can be pretty well scaling into the later game. This has been where they've liked to be throughout these first 3 games, and now in game number 4, back on track, this time even with all 6 grubs. So gonna have that extra pushing power. That's gonna become a big problem, especially with how this bot lane's been going, where Forsen and Mixture have consistently had priority, consistently had opportunities to be taking away those turret plates. They've already gotten 2 for themselves, and they're gonna have a much easier time making that 3 or 4 with those extra Void Mites.
It's going to be so much easier for them, as we see a slide route, but it's not going to turn into any sort of big fight happening. And they do have the ultimates here. Maybe they can start a fight, but with the patient control, it's just so easy for Lotus to disengage from anything weird, wait out their timings, and then play the lane like they want to.
Yeah, I like the movement here from Zolt, at least. They are calling him over towards the blue buff so that he can support with Right of the Arcane if a fight breaks out in bottom lane, but the piece of that matters is if, and that's what's mattered all game long. Hife has continuously made looks towards this bottom lane, trying to punish Forsen and Mixture, and it's just never worked out. He always gets spotted. That time it was by the Hawk shot. Earlier it was by the Vision, and he just has not been able to even force out summoners from Forsen and Mixture. And you know, this time around they didn't have them. You can see why he wanted to apply pressure, but it's just not being found.
Simply not being found, and it's not the case here. And I want to point out as well, I think this is Robbie Bob playing the Azir tank build because he took the Grasp. I actually didn't notice before. Grasp first as a rune here, so this may be the tank Azir that a lot of people have been playing recently.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it gives him a little bit more sustain in the lane matchup at the very least, and then going for the Leandries here, he doesn't need to go quite as much full AP because he's got Porsche in the top lane, going for that Roa build as well, so a couple of AP threats means you could afford to go for stuff like these Mercury treads and have a safer matchup in lane as a result.
No, there was a stem. Actually, they're going in.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow went out, did not connect, but quickness is going to come through onto Pockets. Forsen does get the slow with the Blade of the Ruin King, just wants to set up for Odd Orange to dive in, but when becomes Lightning, not going to connect. Pockets finds himself very low on HP as Dragon number 2 gets started. Let's see if BlackRock still want to try to find a fight around here. They do have those 2 long-range ultimates. Forsen going to get tagged by an Arcano Pulse. Salt just trying to stay behind the rest of the lines. Lands the Eye of the Arcane. There's going to be the follow-up Shocking Orb. Not going to connect. Shots raining through now for Sushi. That's going to be 2 of them already found on a Mixture. 4th one not going to connect, but control of the Dragon goes to BlackRock, and they're going to tie it up 1-1 in Dragons.
And after so much control for the side of Lotus, this is the first time we actually see BlackRock be able to make use of what their composition is supposed to do. You are able to base off the initial engage potential, like we were mentioning with the Rakan trying to get to the backline, and then you just play off of your range and damage. You have Salt and Sushi raining down damage from a really long distance, and when you're not able to get on top of them, it's really easy for them to just try and burst them out. Ooh, okay, Rakan's fine.
Yeah, Mixture playing on a knife's edge here, trying to disrupt recalls and be annoying wherever he possibly can, and has been doing a good job of doing so at a safe distance most of the game thus far. We are just going to return back to the farming game. Lotus now going to have their dragon stacking interrupted. Will it be time for that Rift Herald here pretty soon? It's already on the map. If they want to challenge for that, would be a pretty powerful tool for them. I like Rift Herald once you have 6 grubs especially. Really just gives you that extra bit of pushing power when you can get it. Does look like they're calling over at least Mixture to try to make a play.
They are trying to make a play in multiple places. They now are also looking for the Rift Herald Lotus here, trying to keep on getting as much control as possible. They lost out on the objective control, sadly, on their general objective control, but it's at the end not going to matter that much if they are able to get this Rift Herald. Interestingly, BlackRock seems like they are waiting for the right chances to try and contest for different objectives. Like, they are not proactively looking to try and contest it, just waiting for the right one to go for, like they did with the Dragon, and now they're giving up the Herald.
Yeah, I don't love that with the poke comp either. It feels like it's the kind of composition where you want to be the first ones to the objectives. You can set up saplings, you can set up traps, right? Have Hyph waiting around in a bush, channeling up the stun, decoy looking for a flank angle, and making sure that you can keep Zalt and Sushi in a safe position to force Lotus to walk into you and take tons of damage. As Enchanted Crystal Arrow, a little bit of hitbox shenanigans finds its way onto Zalt, but it's Mixture who's up way too far, picked off, taken down by Hyph, who's going to turn it into an engage opportunity using that stolen grand entrance, focusing his damage onto Odd Orange, who has to flash to safety to get away from the Shocking Orb. BlackRock put themselves on the board once again.
Yeah, and a bit of bait coming in by the Ash Arrow because it hits, but it's not actually an Oki arrow to follow. It's completely under the turret, and then 3 members, or actually 2 members, ready to respond to the play from the Rakan. Really well done by BlackRock there, not allowing for anything bad to happen to Salt. Not even the flash is blown by the Seraph, and they are able to trade the kill, 1 for the Viego, and really good thing to them to try and just keep the game as close as possible.
Really good indeed here as trades coming back and forth. BlackRock still behind in gold, but showing that they can still put together some plays here and there. Getting themselves their first items completed pretty much across the board here to give themselves a little bit more play. Still very concerned about this bottom lane, though. Forsen is farming up a storm, still on that like 10 CS per minute pace. And Sushi, not even close to that, has been set so far behind. This turret just getting rained onto by the Ash, and they just keep cycling this. They'll be able to pick up a turret here before too long as Mixture once again spots Hyph coming in for the gank and easily disengages.
They spot them, but they are able to immediately run away. No fight ends up happening there. Dragon in 130, so that may be a place where we actually see them fighting. And this sub lane has been one of the least impactful or important places I think I've seen in a while. Both the laners are just pushing waves, trading with each other, and not actually interacting with the rest of the map.
Absolutely, just pretty much like they're not even there.
Yeah,
going to just continue stacking on up their gold, stacking on their own items. And, you know, these are one of those kind of games where if it's going to be this slow pace, Lotus, they might have the gold lead, but when there's not really these individual skirmishes, it feels like the whole thing can just turn in an instant. It'll be one big fight here that solidifies who's going to be in control over the game. Lotus, they're going to get a slight edge because of the extra itemization, but BlackRock, it's all going to be about timing.
Exactly, they are going to play off of their timing and as much as they can find with the poke in their favor, as Asher insta cleanse there, and I like the attempt, but super easy to ignore this. Wait.
Yeah, Pockets going on in, trying to take the fight. Sushi raining as much damage in as he can. Odd Orange arrives to the play, throws down that Crescent Guard, but the teleport in here, going to find an engage opportunity for Decoy. Mixture going to be the first one to drop. The resets once again for Hive, coming up huge in the fight as Forsen has fallen down. This might have been the big fight we were looking for, TDS, and it's got BlackRock's name all over it. They're going to get themselves 3 for 0 and equalize the gold lead. Second Dragon for them coming up here in a second as well.
3 for 0 with a perfect timing, and the Dragon going to go in their favor, like you're mentioning. Perfect timing to win that fight, ends up giving them not only the kills but also the Dragon advantage. Porsche trading a little bit here with Decoy, but it's not going to matter that much. And crucially, or big important difference in that fight, the numbers advantage. With the great teleport from Decoy, but Salt also teleporting to the play, whereas there was no Robbie Bob in close proximity. And as soon as they committed a lot of their engage with the Rakan, the answer was just much better by BlackRock.
Really good stuff there from BlackRock, getting themselves to the board once again. And I've really liked what Hive has been able to put together here in these last couple of fights, getting that first kill onto Mixture, stealing away the Rakan, using the reset power to re-engage and get onto future targets. This is a good recipe for success as long as they're able to keep replicating it. And Mixture continues to be the first one going down in these fights, which is giving those opportunities to BlackRock.
Essentially, the engages from the Rakan have been so easily countered, in some of the situations, and they need to find consistency in how they approach them. Poco's trying to get some trade onto Torch there.
Taking a lot of damage. The turret's going to fall. They're looking for their opportunity now. 5 members strong. They find Sushi, and Sushi will drop. Now they have the Rift Herald setting up for the charge. Robbie Bob is the one in there. Gotta be careful about Decoy. Does manage to get the distance back away in time. It will be able to get about half of that turret's health before the Rift Herald drops. They've got this Azir turret to stay and defend them as they go in for a retreat. BlackRock Esports going to fall back behind in gold. It's basically like that previous fight never happened, minus the Dragon staff.
Yeah. Pretty much the only difference there was the Dragon going in favor of the side of BlackRock, but a quick response coming in by Lotus, and a weird decision there by BlackRock. Pokus trying to lock down the Gragas there, but it's fine if you have more than one member in that situation. But it was only Sushi that was in a great spot. Salt was coming down, Hive was coming close to the fight, and it just simply didn't matter that much. At the end, they are able to take down the mid lane turret, get back the gold that they lost in the previous fight, and it's pretty much back to square one for Lotus, like you were mentioning, Gordo.
And here's more of those tank items coming through for Robbie Bob as he's got that Abyssal Mask coming through. Still going to have to retreat up against Hive's damage, though. Falls back away, but Salt 2 items strong on the Xerath, feeling like he's been able to scale into the mid game pretty effectively. And we're starting to get to the point where if he lands a couple of skills onto somebody like Forsen, it can make a big difference in the upcoming fights. Even onto Robbie, he's got access to the Abyssal Mask, which is going to help him shrug it off a little bit more easily. But now Robbie looking for the fight, flashed away by Zolk, going to get hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and in from behind, here comes Mixture. Such a long stun at that distance means Robbie Bob gets the kill.
Great Ash Arrow, but they really wanted to kill Salt in that play. After both flashes down by both mid laners, they immediately re-engage and force the fight, killing Salt and gaining another turret. Good objective control in this situation by Lotus, because like we always try to mention, when you're opting into kills, try and get an objective for that as well. And they are able at the end to not only get the kill, but get the turret.
Looks like Decoy found himself a solid fight in the bottom lane as well. Porsche now without Flash. Decoy without ult and Ghost was able to force that resource out of the Gragas. Porsche manages to keep himself alive, but does lose access to the turret. Decoy will be able to pick that one up.
Going to be able to get the turret in their favor, answer back to the top lane turret, and to keep the game as close as possible. Next Dragon in 130, that's going to be soul point for BlackRock, or second Dragon for Lotus. Could be a point of contention for the next fight. Although with Baron up, and you can see how lighted up it is with Vision for the side of Lotus, there might be a slight opportunity for them to look for the Baron. Although with this Azir build, you're not playing for the amount of damage, you're playing more for trying to controlling team fights and going in.
Absolutely here. We'll be looking to shuffle back in somebody like Sushi or Zalt. If they can catch them out of position, it's going to be all about how well they're going to be able to stay safe, how well they're going to be able to keep their distance and use that range advantage that BlackRock have drafted for themselves early on in these fights, poking out members and making it easier for members like Hive to get in and reset. And next dragon going to be up here in less than a minute, and already Odd Orange is hunting around that side of the map, looking to set up for the rest of the team. They will have that vision control. He's kind of alone right now, though, and the rest of the team coming in through mid. Odd Orange going to have to back away, and Porsche going to have to be very careful. He's deep behind enemy lines.
Exactly, they pretty much saw them in a position that was kind of scary for the Odd Orange, and they immediately escaped that situation. Trying to gain control of the dragon, there's two members of the Ashero.
Ooh, Hive going to be pushed back. There's going to be explosive cast. Beautiful angle there, but Zalt has just been locked down and melted down. Hive trying to get himself out to safety, but the front to back fight for Lotus has been written up exactly as they planned. They dive forward, getting on to Decoy. They'll take anybody they can find with this kind of numbers advantage, and Decoy gonna be the next one to hit the dirt. A double kill for Forsen as Lotus are gonna claim this dragon with ease.
Perfect fight there by Lotus, and gotta call out the perfect arrow there by Forsen. Finding Salt, the member that has no cleanse. So if you're able to lock down the Serath, no flash either, easy to kill, and immediately moving into the rest of the members. It's such a good start to the fight. It counts as a pick-off even, because it's pretty much on the targets that are remaining on the mid lane, pushing the wave instead of trying to move with the rest of the team. That gives them the avenue to try and force the fight, and now it's looking like Baron. Hive?
Yeah, TP from Zalt. They're not letting this go quietly. Porsche is marking them, though. Gonna get locked down. He's face to face with two carries as a not too tanky Gragas. Sushi flashes for the fourth shot, and Arcano Pulse will end him. Now Hive getting pushed back away by the Azir ultimate. Is it too late? It is not. They are going to be able to secure that for Odd Orange, but now here comes the right of the Arcane, raining down from Zalt across the map, and the damage amping up onto Mixture. One more shot from Sushi will be enough to close him out, and Pakis is looking for the cutoff, but dancing back away is Mixture. He's been able to get far enough away, and he will escape. Zalt looking for a shot, but he's just not close enough.
Yeah, two members may have died there, but at least it's three keeping their power buff, plus also able to win the previous fight. BlackRock trying to find anything that could have been in their favor, but it's not going to be that the case here. And now with the Baron buff, what can Lotus try and accomplish? Oh wait, Forsen.
Ooh, Nature's Grasp coming on through. Forsen gonna have to flash back out to safety, but he's got Decoy right on top of him. All out gonna come on through, but look at Mixture right on top of him. Locks down pockets, buys enough space for Forsen to get that damage through. He's 3 items strong on this Ashe, and that 2-on-2 comes up in favor of Lotus.
Being really unlucky there. Decoy, I mean, actually went for the Rakan instead of the Ashe, so doesn't force her out of the fight, doesn't move it out of the place to try and keep Pocus alive, and that just means that Forsen not only keeps himself alive, but actually gets a really nice kill into Pocus, and they are going to keep on pushing with this Baron buff. They have the members in mid and top lane, and they just want to get as much value as possible.
Now, Robbie Bob going to be the next target here as Hive coming on up. Robbie going to have to try to find his way out, but his path will be blocked. Nice Enchanted Crystal Arrow going to buy some additional time. There's going to be the shuffle back away, and Robbie Bob taking the 1-on-2 with the help of that arrow. Porsche finding Zalt as well. 2 kills coming through for Lotus, and knock on the base. Lotus looking to open up and get themselves this inhibitor and look for their 3rd win here. They can see top 16 in their eyes, and BlackRock Esports are running out of answers.
They have blood in their eyes, and they want to secure the next round as much as possible, and they want to do it in this game. 2 inhibitors down. They are not going to overly push. Odd Orange is already in the bot side, but the damage is already done. They've taken down so much of the base from BlackRock, and it's looking like maybe it's all going to fall down to one last play for BlackRock. What can they find in their favor? What can they do to turn around the situation? It's difficult to call out, really.
And Robbie wants to keep the tempo up. He gets the recall off, uses the TP to keep the minion wave safe, shows back up with his newly completed Frozen Heart, and they're going to look to fight a second time with most of the team still on the same health bars as before. Pocket's going to be the first one melting down. Explosive Cask is beautiful onto Hype as he's going to drop to Forsen, diving forward from Mixture to lock down Sushi. That's going to be a double kill over to Odd Orange. The all-outed Decoy going to get forced back in the fight. Explosive Cask already used, but the slows and the body slam coming on across from Porsche are more than enough. Robbie shuffles Zalt back into the team. That's a 4-for-0 for Lotus, who are knocking on the base doors, ready to end the game and secure themselves top 16 in OQ2.
It's going to be Lotus moving on to the next round, and credit to BlackRock for their idea, for their attempt with the composition. I think it's a nice little thing to try and here and there, but Lotus just outplaying them in certain situations, particularly the mid lane fight. That really was the thing that breaks completely the game open in their favor, finding that Ashara onto Salt with no flash. And it's also the thing that comes in from before, because that flash was blown way earlier, trying to make the target that usually has no mobility be as easy to pick off as possible, and they find it. Really good game by Lotus, and looking like they are beginning to stack up going into the next rounds.
Definitely are here. So now going to move into that 3-1 bracket. The seeding is already completed. Lotus are going to play up against Polestar in game number 5 to try to get themselves up to 4-1. Going to be an exciting match for sure here, as yeah, I mean, that's going to be at least top 16 secured here for Lotus. BlackRock going to have to fight for their lives in the 2-2 bracket.
It's not the best situation to be in when you're BlackRock, but the 2-2 bracket looking kind of exciting when you look at some of the teams that are left there. But the top 3-1 and 4-0, it's kind of what was expected. Maybe the only outlier there, Reluminate, one team that not a lot of people were expecting. But apart from that, everything looking to be falling into place.
Yeah, definitely here. Looking like, yeah, it is absolutely going to be BlackRock up against Clown Gaming is going to be the big look here.
Yep.
See who is going to be able to actually make it through. Like you said, Reluminate hanging out in the 3-1 brackets. They've already qualified as well. And then all your favorites who would be expected to be here: Blue Otter, Fly Fam, CCG, Team Fish Taco, Gentle Hearts, and Polestar.
The top ones
will join the rest of them. The 4-0 match will be Winthrop University up against Ole Miss. So a little bit of a college showdown there. That's going to be a fun one as well. But we got a little while, as those games are just starting to be played right now. So we're going to throw it to another break. Will be a little bit of an extended one like they have been all weekend long. But we'll be back as soon as we are able, with Lotus taking on Polestar.
Don't fear what you don't know, 'cause we're far from certain fate. We'll make our final stand, lost in the dark. We've come so far, another step to rid the pain. Go and be counted till your last day, 'cause only nightmares break their flames. So stand upon these fallen legs. yourself, remember, darling, don't look for me, I'm just a story you've been told. So let's pretend a little longer, 'cause when we're gone, everything goes on. You were staring at the window, and I said, I wanna take you to the sea. And when I'm better, we'll do everything. I gotta stop making promises I can't keep. But if I was gone tomorrow, won't the waves crash on? Is it selfish that I'm happy as we pass the setting sun? Someday I'll be overcast, but you won't have to cry, 'cause we'll do the grieving while I'm by your side. I said, don't try to make yourself remember, darling, don't look for me, I'm just a story you've been told. So let's pretend a little longer, 'cause when we're gone, everything goes on. And I'm so scared of getting used to this. All the vines that keep you tethered in your room. Well, someday both of us are leaving here, but for now I'll just bring this sea to you. Will you meet me in the daylight like we did before? Then I felt you on my shoulder, and you weren't suffering anymore. You said, I'm sorry that you worried, but don't apologize. I told you to forget me, but you stayed by my side when I said, don't try to make yourself remember, darling, don't look for me, I'm just a story you've been told. So let's pretend a little longer, and when we're gone, everything goes on.
Welcome back, everybody, to Aegis Esports' coverage of the NACL Open Qualifiers. It's number 2 for the spring split. The last one that will determine who is able to make it into that promotion tournament at the end of the split. And 2 teams contending for that right now are Lotus and Polestar, both in the 3-1 bracket, looking to make it to 4-1 and get themselves a favorable seed coming into the upcoming GSL group stage. Polestar, a team we haven't gotten to see here yet, TDS, but making some upgrades at a couple of positions after OQ number 1. They've brought in Shocky in the top lane and a Lunar and Just into the AD and support positions. Looking to take that firepower and see if they can get an upset here up against Lotus.
Well, technically speaking, kind of the same thing that the other teams did, upgrading on the positions that they thought were going to be much harder to try and go forward in the OQ. And like you're mentioning, a really important OQ because last chance to determine yourself in that promotion tournament. Importantly, these 2 teams already with a farther chance to be able to prove that since they are going to the next round. It's just trying to decide the seeding. And the seeding is important. We've seen groups of death that because of a couple of results in the OQs, you end up with a 3-2 that on paper shouldn't be a 3-2, and then you end up with a group of death that a lot of people didn't want to be in. So it's important to see where you're able to get yourself into in the Okus and how you're going to play around it. As we see the bans coming through, the Orianna, the Seer, the Senna, nothing out of the ordinary here. Robbie Bob played a great Seer in the previous game.
Agree. Pulse not going to want to have any part of that. They're going to ban away the Twisted Fate as well. So Lotus looking to remove a couple of Reppy's favorites in the form of the Orianna, and then a couple of bot lane focused bans towards Lunar and Just with that Senna and that Ashe. Varus could be the last one, taking that one away from Forsen. He has been pretty reliable on the on-hit Varus, scaling into the later game throughout the open qualifier. This gives Lotus that karma. They've had such high karma priority over the course of the OQ so far, and they will be happy to first pick that one. Likely for Robbie Bob, but you got to remember that the flex over to Mixture is always possible.
Yeah, and instantaneously to take the NACL, so probably thinking that karma may be going towards the mid lane to try and answer onto it. That being said, if they go Kalista here, the NACL has an extra flexibility potential to her, since you can play with the ultimate of the Kalista to try and throw the NACL. There's that flex potential there as well, so nothing really rebuild for either team just yet, apart from the Kalista going into the AD carry position, as Orange potentially going back to the Xin Zhao. It feels like the champion that goes right to his wheelhouse of ganking, but also giving him the potential of not immediately getting bursted out if he wants to engage. So has been consistent, and I like the idea, and this could be an AD carry spot for Lotus, since they already know that the Kalista is out. They can probably take it here.
And I love Karma Xin Zhao as a mid-jungle duo. She's just so adept at being able to enable that pick. The Ujir now going to be the lock-in, probably coming in the top lane for Porsche, who's been pretty much filling that frontline tank role all OQ long for this Lotus squad, not really deviating away from the tank picks from what we've gotten to see so far, and he's going to be happy to lock in another one here in that Udyr. The Aatrox going to be the counter pick selected by Pulse. They're going to try to take Shockey's Aatrox and see if they're going to be able to get themselves a lead in that top lane, as bot lane bans coming through from Pulse, jungle bans coming through from Lotus. I like that Nocturne ban when you know you're facing down the Nico. That duo can be very dangerous, and Kryra going to be one of those junglers you got to look at, even if you're odd orange, an NACL vet, someone who's been around Academy and tier 2, tier 3 for forever. You got to give respect over to Kryra. This kid has been on the come up over these last couple of OQs. He's a very dangerous jungler.
And it's looking like he wants to go for the carry jungler himself, with the Viego getting Harvard here may end up being the champion that they opt into. But a lot of AD carry bans, and this is the risk you run when you don't take your AD carry here. The Udyr obviously has high priority, but they are attacking Forsen's pool as much as possible. The Ezreal and the Smolder were banned previously, and now you're left with still some AD carries that you can make use of. If this is Karma support, you can go for the Caitlyn, but instead it's going to be the Saya. So trying to play around the ultimate, trying to not get caught out by the Nico or the Aatrox in a difficult spot, and with the Rakan it's going to be the Karma in the mid lane, and here we may find out if it's a Nico mid or a support Nico. The Nautilus could still be the option, I think.
Yep, we're looking at that Nautilus, and that is going to get locked in. So it's going to be Kryra on the Viego. Frontline duties being fulfilled by the support. Nico will be piloted by Reppy in the mid lane. And just overall looking to get a really solid skirmish snowball comp together for Pulse here. And they've got plenty of good tools, a lot of comfort picks across the board here. Shockey on his Aatrox, Kryra on the Viego. You really are going to be expecting them to be able to perform on these picks. So Pulse just going full comfort here. Lotus going with some stuff that they've been really practiced on this OQ as well.
Well, Robbie Bob staying true to the Karma mid lane. We've seen it a couple of times already. It's worked out really well, so why shy away from it? The only thing that I'm worried about with Lotus here, it's the fact that they are playing with Saya pretty much being the main damage dealer of the team. It reminds me of when they were playing with Robbie Bob on the Rise. Like, yes, the other champions may be good to try and set you up, but your main damage dealer is the Saya. Karma late game is not a damage dealer. Xin Zhao late game is not a damage dealer. Udyr, it's not a damage dealer. So it's on the Saya to try and deliver. And if Pulse are able to force early on into the bot lane, deny the Saya, and make her have a really bad early game, then they can just try and shut down that AD carry for as long as possible and play off of that snowball.
They definitely can, and it's very likely going to. The goal is going to be here as we get onto the Rift for game number 5, the final game of the open qualifier stage, the Swiss stage that is. Lotus coming on out from the blue side. Pulse coming out of the red, and the winner here going to have a massive seeding advantage. The loser going to be in that massive pool of 3 and 2 teams. That is not where you want to find yourself.
30 seconds until
And the start, it's just a staring contest. Nothing out of the ordinary with the early level 1. I love when teams are trying to be proactive in their level 1s, but it looks like it's been much difficult to find it here in the Lotus games, and luckily I would love to see some more action when you have champions like the Nautilus and the Kalista to go for the level 1s.
Absolutely. Here would be interested to see if there is going to be any kind of breakout play here to get that lead early on. But looking like it's going to be pretty calm. A little bit of a ward on the ramp comes through for the side of Pulse so that they know if anybody's coming to pay them a visit. Otherwise, not going to see too much going on. Exchange of vision over on the Pulse side of the jungle. Going to give it a little bit over about where Kryra might be, but he's just going to start over on those wolves and keep himself options to be able to go in. Lunar! That's not Lunar, actually. That's Reppy. Reppy going to be forced to flash here to start things off.
Maybe they can bait it so that they think Lunar actually flashed, but it's actually Reppy that was forced to flash, or is that too much wishful thinking? Because, yeah, Lunar is spotted down there, and that is a really good start. Taking away the flash from the Nico, you do have a Xin Zhao, so this could be an early start towards the mid lane and try and impact as much as possible here with Robbie Bob.
Yeah, really good start here for Robbie. He's going to be plenty comfortable now knowing that there's no kind of flash tangle barb plays or anything coming in his future. Will make him feel very safe in his ability to just push in mid lane, farm up, and keep the bullying coming through on towards Reppy, especially when he's taken the form of this Kalista here to have a little bit of an easier time farming. But hey, you don't have those Qs on the Kalista that the Kalista has access to, and that short auto attack range, he's really feeling it here as Robbie Bob is the first one to take level 2, and he can threaten to step up there with those chains.
I'm kind of curious, do you get the passive as well, where you can jump as a Kalista, or just
you do, I believe.
Wait, really? That's actually something I didn't knew.
Could be wrong.
That makes that actually makes a difference in how you play the lane, but it could be a bit fun of a mechanic. But so far, Reppy feeling a bit of the hurt without the flash, but also going against the Karma. She has pretty easy pushing power, so it's not that difficult to find a lot of value in the mid lane as the Karma. And also, Udyr going inside of the enemy jungle, so trying to keep tabs on when Kryra may have started and what he wants to do.
Well, starting off a little bit of a fight in the bottom side. Lunar finds himself a little bit far up, gonna get snared away, and now gonna have to flash out to safety, just looking to frontline for him, and will at least force Forsen to move further back, but the damage still raining onto him, going to take him down to below 200 HP. Another feather pull, this one not finding its target, and Lunar and Just get to keep this push going. Nice dredge line forward. Forsen has to blow the heel, still trading back very close, but Kryra waiting in the wings to try to turn this play back around. Forsen might just be a little too far away.
Yeah, and Forsen actually putting down the ward, knowing that there might be a slight chance of a dive happening. It looks like maybe Kryra looking aggressively for it, but it's not going to be the case. And if not for mixture healing there, I probably think they want to go for the dive there. But the extra healing onto Forsen makes it really difficult, and it's just going to be an instant reset for both teams.
Definitely looking that way. Yeah, the recalls will complete for Lunar and Just. Forsen going to be thinking the same, but knowing that that recall's already completed, they do get to get the push off first. So definitely going to be the ones who don't blink and going to get themselves a little bit of extra spending money as a reward for that. Taking their own recall now. Going to be overall a faint gold lead to Lotus across the board. A lot of that coming from mid lane due to Reppy having his flash blown earlier on. I have to see how the rest of the lanes continue to play out as Porsche just using the Udyr as you do to keep sustained, to just outlast any opposition, even including the Aatrox.
Yeah, it's weird that you out-heal the out-healer himself in the form of the Aatrox, but like the longer the trade goes, the easier you just get healing back, and it's really good for you as the Udyr. That being said, like you're mentioning, only Robbie Bob really feeling like he has an advantage. Everywhere else it's quite close. And as long as there's nothing weird happening, the game is still really fine for Polestar. They may try and make a little bit more plays when Kryra hits level 6, or same for Reppy, because Flash will be up by the time. But apart from that, nothing out of the ordinary.
No, just full clears coming through from both junglers. Odd Orange not able to find himself any spots to play aggressive. Kryra not either, but Kryra is going to be plenty happy with that. It lets him farm up towards that level 6 Heartbreaker. Robbie Bob just continuing to trade into Reppy here, using that ultimate whenever they can, keeping them chunked on down on the Nico side, as bot lane's still been the focus here. Lunar and Just with a little tiny CS lead for themselves. Not too much to speak of, though, but you definitely want to be building up a lead on these kind of Callista lanes. Get some jungle support while you're at it. Meanwhile, Odd Orange working on these grubs. Getting himself the first one already. Should get at least 2, and he's just going to look to clear out the whole camp.
Yeah, and actually a really important consistent thing coming in from the side of Lotus, it's the fact that Odd Orange has had really good control in terms of the objectives. In pretty much every game so far, he's been able to acquire some sort of lead there. Now we do see Kryra moving into the bot lane dragon quadrant, which is the typical play when you trade topside, you get the bot lane dragon, or ooh, that was close by Just. That was a good attempt.
Was a good attempt. Good dodge there from Mixture. Gets himself to safety in time. The dragon will drop, though. Kryra's been working on this one for a while. Will get it into the smite range. Not even going to use the smite. Knows that he can secure it for himself here. Well, the time is being spent to just clear out camps by Odd Orange. So just a clear out trade of the early objectives. Porsche gonna look to get a little proxying done, knowing that Kryra's on the bottom side, and just try to make Shockey's life a little bit more annoying.
The Udyr experience, just go behind the 2 turrets. Well, actually, it's a Singed experience. You go behind the 2 turrets and you out farm the laner, and there's never any more interaction. And this only happens in top lane because top laners, and that's it.
Yup. So, Shockey gonna have to face tank the full wave to make sure he's gonna be able to secure it. Odd Orange hovering around this bottom side. I don't think is fully aware of Kryra. Now they know Odd Orange is there for sure as he walks on over that control ward. Gonna get that one secured and gonna make sure that Forsen and Mixture can get their collapse on in. Mixture going to start getting focused on, but Forsen able to push them back with the Blade Caller.
Yeah, it's a new good counter trade coming in from Forsen down there. The issue is that because Kryra is close by, they probably don't want to make any more engage happen, and because they already expended the just 1 hook, they probably don't want to follow up on that anymore. And it's just waiting game at this point, where trying to look for plays but not overly being aggressive with some of those plays as well.
Absolutely here. Clearing on out these waves, just turning the push back into their favor. The Zyra-Khan duo, no slouches in the laning department either, and Lunar at that lower health total, zoned off of the wave, having a little bit of difficulties here. Odd Orange coming in to support. Robbie Bob moving down as well. This might be a dive angle, as Lotus has got a pretty healthy wave built on up. They will be spotted on the vision, but now it's a little bit too late for them to be able to fall back. Robbie Bob going to be flanking them here. Might just end up being the target. Going to throw down that depth charge. There's going to be Odd Orange advancing on towards Lunar. Dash on through the engage from Mixture, but here comes the pop. Blossom on to 4. First blood picked up for Lunar until he finally drops to Forsen, but it's a numbers advantage for Polestar. Pulse are going to look to tear this squad apart as they get themselves to 3rd. Trade back from Forsen is going to make it a 2 for 3, but Robbie Bob not sticking around for too long. 4 for 2 in favor of Polestar.
They were able to answer so well to the dive there, and crucially, the Rakan going a bit too far forward because the initial play is not bad because of the distance from Kryra. Kryra was quite far away, so if they are able to force onto Lunar just really early on, and you're able to kill the both of them at the start, even if both Kryra and Reppy are coming, it's really difficult for them to get max value because your bot lane is already dead. But the distance that they were able to cover, plus the fact that I think Rakan went a little bit too far forward, ends up meaning that they are just overcommitting at the time, and ooh, Shockey.
Oh, Shockey. Bold to step up there for that CS, but he stays alive. Odd Orange is coming on up. He doesn't have access to the flash. Will they get here in time? I'm not thinking so. Shockey interrupts the recall. Oh no, as here comes the engage. Diving forward, Mixture tanks a shot just for fun. Buys the space. Shockey lands the Q3. Will drop on the other side. Turret shot still coming through onto Odd Orange. Or stuck on the wrong side of dodge as Kryra's going to take him down, and now has that Udyr passive to try to chase down Mixture, who's going to flash over the wall. They will be able to get out, but Pulse, these dives are not working out the way that they want.
Exactly. Lotus may be looking for them, but it's at the very least being answered accordingly for pulls. And just like that, Kryra, the rookie jungler we were hyping up to be a potential hyper carry, already with 2-0 and 2. Really good start for them, and looking like maybe Pulsar can try and carry the pace of the game off of their jungler. Plus, also, the bot lane is doing a really good job. They are getting plates down there. Even if they end up losing out on the crops, it's not going to be the worst.
Yeah, no, you know what? If you can't do the turret dives, you can at least try to take down those turrets.
Yep.
And Lotus is going to get themselves all 6 grubs to get themselves the best chance of being able to do that. They're going to have to calm down now, it feels like, in this early game. The kills going over towards Kryra. Everybody being really well set up towards that bottom side of the map as well. Lunar getting 2 kills to his name off that dive earlier on. Just gives them that extra gold to work with and makes diving them all the more dangerous.
Exactly, makes it really risky for them. And now, with the dives not working out as intended, what is the plan for Lotus? Are they going to play a more waiting approach and allow for Forsen to scale, or will they try and keep being a bit more proactive with their plays, try and make something happen in their favor? Because their composition still does have the potential to take the back foot and wait for Forsen to have 4 items and just carry the game out off of the Saya. But that does have a risk. That means that you cannot pretty much fight anything at that point.
Definitely does have that risk, as comes that little Banshee just scouting things out for Lunar, going to get cleared out, and Kryra's going to look to secure Dragon number 2. Odd Orange, fresh off a recall, probably not going to be able to get here in time, and Pulse is going to get both of the first 2 dragons.
Yeah, they're going to get the second dragon, actually really good dragon control by them, and looks like it's going to be the Ocean Soul as Nautilus.
Dredge line, here comes that depth charge. Knockup going to connect on a Forsen. Mixture looking to buy that space. They now see that Kryra is in the area, and they will back on off. Good damage onto Mixture, not much else to be found. Odd Orange is here to clear out the vision, but the objective's gone. The camps are gone. Maybe going to be able to get the Scuttle Crab, but that's the best you can hope for.
The objective's gone, the crab's gone, the champions are gone. Even there's nothing left there for the Odd Orange to try and collect, and it's just trying to follow up on the right up path pretty much, because that's all that you're able to do at this point, as they're maybe trying to set up for a potential play with the other. Oh wait, what?
Ooh, full dive on in. The quickness gonna lock down Lunar, and that kill's gonna come through for Mixture. Odd Orange arrives to the play as Porsche comes in off the TP as well, and Pulse were just not ready for this one. Forsen gonna be able to clean up that kill. It's a 2 for 0 for Lotus, and now plenty of turret plates left to be eaten up by this 6 grub stack Lotus team. Forsen gonna try to cash out.
Yeah, going to get as much value as possible. Here comes a TP and Kryra.
Ooh, Reppy coming in from behind. Kryra on the collapse. There's nothing available. They're going to be able to get that shutdown onto Forsen. No chance of the Feather Storm to escape this time. And now what else can Kryra find? Knocked back away, but here's the 2-man knockup coming through from Reppy. They're going to focus on to Odd Orange. He's going to try to fight his way out, but he's got no chance in the 1 versus 2. The knockup will not buy him the space. Kryra's on a rampage.
Yeah, they get baited by their greed to try and get even more gold onto Forsen, and then Kryra able to collapse her with Reppy on the TP from the back. Really good play after such a nice answer by Lotus. Even though they get huge value onto the Saya, Forsen ends up getting shot down, and the shutdown goes to Kryra. Still, the jungler looking like the main carry off Pulsar and getting even more value here.
Absolutely. Layering down some vision around. Not going to be able to get too much in the objective game, though. Good response by Kryra. Gets themselves a couple of extra kills. Now 4-0 Viego. Something you got to be really concerned about coming into some of these mid-game fights. As Robbie Bob's working on this turret, Kryra is going to be there in time to respond. And the dragon stacking really looking good for Pulse. Lotus are going to get forced into these fights sooner rather than later. And there's a very strong Viego waiting for them.
That's exactly why having this sort of vision control down here is so important. You cannot allow for Pulsar to get the first move into the river, because with the Kalista, with the Viego, you do have a lot of damage onto the dragon and really good ways to try and collect it. And any more dragons are only going to be the big worry of the soul potentially coming into place, as Porsche and Shocky fighting between each other. Not much happening there though.
Yeah, just trying to clear on out the wave. Shocky going in for these Darkened Blades. Porsche doing a good job of dodging around them though, and coming out no worse for wear in the trade, even getting some stacks of the Grasp of the Undying here now with the RR going to just look to keep moving on forward on towards Shocky, and you can see that health bar just getting lower and lower, and Porsche just going to keep having access to that regen off the turtle stance. Really good stuff coming on through for the Lotus top laner in these trades whenever we get to check them out.
Yeah, it's so funny to see because every time the trade goes, like Porsche stayed with the same health bar and Shocky's just kept on going down. It was just the difference between each other, and the trades are going to keep on benefiting them as maybe a dive attempt here, just holding the wave, waiting for the next one to collapse and maybe set up for Robbie Bob to die here.
Yeah, really great damage out of Robbie Bob, though. Already taking Lunar low, taking just low as well. And two of the divers are already at half HP, and the dive hasn't even started. I think Robbie Bob's been able to get himself out of a dangerous position here. Throwing forward again on towards Lunar. Lunar is so low. Dredgeline going to connect, though. It's all on Kryra to get these resets. They do manage to focus down Lunar first. Robbie Bob flashing out, but Heartbreaker's going to find him. Kryra goes unstoppable and will be able to waltz away as that Karma. Here comes the knockup from Reppy. Does connect on a mixture. The chain CC comes on across, but does the damage exist? Not quite, as Kryra is going to have to Heartbreaker out.
They were trying so hard to get the kill there, and Porsche and Shocky fighting here as well. Shocky forced to ulti out because he knows that maybe Porsche can just force him into a bad spot. And Odd Orange is here as well.
Coming on through again. Odd Orange looking for the dive. Let's watch out there, guys. It's a tough positioning for Lotus throughout this game when they go for these dives, and Porsche now getting turned onto, pulled back in by the chains. The double W will regen him a little bit of HP, but he's got to dodge out on these Darkened Blades, getting outside the range of Q1, but now leaving behind Odd Orange, who will get pushed off. They do have to exit. Shocky's not going to kill anybody, but he does stop the siege on his own turret.
Stops the siege and able to save himself as well, almost even get a kill in his favor with the dragon spawning now. First move in favor of full sword. This may be actually the soul point completely collected by them, and there doesn't look like to be an answer coming in from Lotus. They are not going to disrespect the sort of positioning advantage that they have.
Not at all. Odd Orange moving in from the top rope. They're already secured the dragon, though. It's going to be 3 dragons in a row to Polestar. They are on soul point. 5 minutes to go until they can secure that ocean soul, and Lotus going to feel the need to go up there and actually try to challenge for that one. Going to be a bit unfortunate for them that they weren't able to put together a challenge for this one, and partially due to that top lane trade going so poorly.
How is that the first turret going down, by the way? First turret blood going in favor of Lotus, but after everything that has happened, I was expecting a bit more damage onto the other turrets as well.
Yeah, can definitely see that, but just haven't quite been able to finish them off, and the Void Mites doing their job, guaranteeing that objectives are easier to take for Lotus. They find themselves with about a 1k gold lead despite the kill deficit, thanks to the fact that they have been able to take down those 2 towers, but know that Polestar, they are 1 fight win and 1 push onto those turrets from being able to equalize and even balloon themselves out to a lead. Take a little bit of a slingshot approach there. Robbie Bob returning it back to lane, 2 items deep now on the Karma. Has been farming well throughout this entire open qualifier, going for this this build with the Malignance going into the Horizon focus, and it's given him so much poke damage.
Yeah, allows for him to get quite a lot of value out of that trading pattern, and also looking into this enemy jungle, they are playing up a Porsche on the side that has been able to bully Shocky out to a certain degree. On the other side, it's Robbie Bob on bot side trying to push the issue and trying to get even more value in their favor, and it looks like it's probably going to work since nobody's even close by.
He has access to the TP if a fight starts to break out, but they're keeping their distance. They know what they have to do just over the wall. Gonna look for a dredge line, but not really in range to find much of anything. And again, 6 grub stacks means that Robbie can take this bot lane with no issue. Will be able to secure that for his own squad. Need to rotate back up to group up with the team in mid, and the gold lead continues to build for Lotus off of these objectives alone.
That and Porsche's being a complete menace. Kryra is coming, so maybe this is the chance he runs away.
Yeah, that's how it would be. I mean, sometimes you just get away from those no problem. And now seeing the load up in the top lane, they're going to try to use this Rift Heralded bot and see if they can get themselves an inner turret. This is going to be a lot of... Oh, no. Odd Orange, no. He's going to have to go for the full loop. He's going to have to Tokyo drift it, but he finds his way into the wall. It's a disaster here. This is not what you want to happen off of the Rift Herald. Will the charge get off? No. It aggro's back towards Kryra, and Lotus will lose the Rift Herald. They get no charge.
Yeah, but that's not an auto range. That's on the poorly designed Rift Herald. That
Sure.
bent completely to the opposite side. He actually got in when he was facing the turret, and the thing just completely shifted his positioning. Like, he actually dimension shift and just completely screw over auto range. I don't think it's fair on him, but they do fail to actually make use of the Rift Herald, and that is a big deficit. That is an objective that pretty much is completely negligible.
Yeah, I mean, that feels bad. You never want to see
100%.
that. As Riot, fix the Rift Herald. Make it so this
Please.
stops happening, please. It doesn't need to be like this.
It's been long enough. You should have already fixed it.
They made it a little better, I think, right? They made some kind of changes to it pretty fast, but ooh, Reppy showing himself on a little bit of a sneaky play there, but not going to be able to find their way on towards Mixture. As wave clear coming through from Lotus. They do not want to give any of these towers back. They got all the outers for themselves. You know, if they can't get inners with the Rift Herald, they don't want to give any outers back.
Yeah, they probably don't want to try and get or give anything over in a bad manner, and it's looking like they are trying to fight in the right way on the side of Pulsar as much as possible. But the problem is that their composition, and we talked a bit about this in the draft. They drafted a comp that wants to get ahead really early on, and they were doing a great job, but Lotus has been able to obtain so much objectives, so many neutralizing factors in the game, and it's just that at this point, when you have a Kalista, a Nico, and an Aatrox, and those three champions haven't been able to accrue a large enough gold lead, or at the very least have a gold lead over your enemy team, then when you have a Saya, that's completely fine. You're able to hyper carry the game at 3 items.
Absolutely, and Saya getting closer and closer to that threshold. The Baron going to get started here for Pulse. They decide, hey, they know that the other team's going to try to challenge them for this Dragon Soul, and instead they're going to see if they can get the Baron here. But Lotus are aware that this is going on. They are stepping on up, getting some vision in. There's going to be the hook. They're trying to focus everything onto Odd Orange, but he throws down the Crescent Guard and is able to avoid a lot of the damage, but Kryra just melts right through him. Now Forsen is in the middle of everybody trying to flash out the safety, but Robbie Bob cannot protect him in time. Robbie's getting danced on by Lunar as a double kill comes through for the Kalista, and it's a 3-for-1 fight in favor of Polestar. They can get the Baron, they can get the Soul, they have free reign of the map.
Yeah, and with that, they had to pull off a play. Even though they were behind, they find the perfect angle and not only kill the Odd Orange, but find Forsen and able to burst the Saya. And the thing is, it's not only this Baron buff. I think they may be able to move immediately after taking down the Baron buff and get the Dragon. It's sold for them. The Dragon is up, and there's still 6 seconds for Forsen and 10 for Robbie Bob that does have teleport.
Yeah, they're going to take the recall first, but Reppy could even teleport to the action if he needs to. They're spamming on my way pings.
As well.
Yeah, the wave was cut off there by Porsche to stop them from getting the mid-outer. Porsche's TPing on in. They know that there's going to be a battle here. That's actually Robbie Bob rejoining the fray, and we're going to get an immediate second 5-on-5 after that Baron fight, but this time Lotus are the ones who are first to the action. Shocky stepping forward with the Darkened Blade, not finding the targets he wants, rooted up and poked away at by Robbie Bob. Over the wall goes Mixture, trying to clear out some of these blast plants, and Porsche now going to be the target. He's got 4 members right in front of him, and he's cut off from the team, but he is very, very tanky on the Udyr as they're going to start their work on towards that Dragon. Health bar getting down to about 2/3 now as Shocky leading the frontline charge, just going to join him as well, fishing in for those dredge lines. Shocky has popped the World Ender. He's coming over the wall, but he can't get any of the targets. Knocked away there by the Crescent Guard. Forsen finishes off Shocky. The dive into the back line. It's the front to back that Lotus had been looking for all along. A double kill to Forsen. Kryra starting to reset. He's the tanky Udyr, but he goes down for a triple kill to Forsen. It could have been a quadra, but Robbie gonna steal it away. The Dragon goes as well, and Lotus have just taken 4 Baron buffs off the map.
Yeah, the game completely back in Lotus's favor, and this was a fight that was crucial because of the cooldowns. It came off after a fight, and the cooldowns were up much better for Lotus than they were for Pulsar, as we have the replay to try and showcase how everything transpired. It's just that starts the fight here, but they don't have positioning. Shocky just gets completely killed. They are sectioned off from the Aatrox, sectioned off from being able to consistently fight. The ultimate from Reppy leaves a lot to be desired, and the thing about Porsche is that as an Udyr, you can run into the enemy team and survive for quite a lot. Even though they are able to get a reset for Kryra, it's just so difficult to find the avenues to make the teamfight go their way. And just like that, the desperation for the soul gives up the Baron buff as well.
Absolutely. They've lost everything that they had built off of that Baron fight now. The gold lead's going back over to Lotus. They're only wearing the buff on, I believe, one member. I think they still have it on Lunar, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's Reppy.
Oh, is it Reppy who still has it? Yeah.
I'm actually not sure anymore.
Well, it's dropped off now, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's just... Oh, Reppy was dead when they took the Baron, so they took the Baron off entirely.
Oh, so yeah, they pretty much lost completely the Baron buff then.
Yeah. That's tough. That's tough for Pulse. They lost everything. So not going to be able to put together any kind of push or anything with that Baron they took. Yeah, you get to keep the gold, but you gave a lot of that gold back, getting near aced by Lotus.
Gave it to Forsen.
Yeah, and all of it going to the Xayah as well. She's on that 3 items, going to be on 4 before too long, and we already saw how these front-to-back fights can look if they're able to keep themselves safe from Shocky. Forsen has done a fantastic job in these last fights. Now, looking like Lotus are going to be in the driver's seat for the foreseeable future.
Well, with how the game has played, it pretty much feels like that. And the Baron buff, or the next Baron buff, maybe the place where we see a bit more of the fighting once again, even though the Dragon will spawn around the same timing. But with the control that they have, it's going to be 4 items Xayah before the next big fight. And that is the point where you worry, because this is what Lotus, or at the very least, when you pick Xayah, that's kind of a point where you're completely fine with giving up. Okay, yes, you may have had control early on, but Xayah 4 items, that's a point where it's really difficult to try and contest back to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you're relying on this Kalista, who's only got 2 items done, to be able to output that DPS, I mean, your best bet is Kryra getting the resets, right? You want to be able to take down somebody early on, get another rotation of spells, be able to focus on towards Forsen. I mean, if Kryra is ever able to take over that Xayah, it's going to just completely end the fight. But a lot of eggs in the Forsen basket, and they've proven time and time again throughout this open qualifier that they can be trusted to be that carry. Greppy caught out by Robbie and Odd Orange here. That's going to be a big pick made by Lotus.
That has to hurt, and Robbie Bob has been dealing quite a lot of damage, showing why the karma has been such a high prior for them, doing not only a lot of damage, but obviously helping the team out quite a lot. And with this Reppy death, could this be another turret going down, or even more control inside of the enemy jungle?
Yeah, they're going to be able to snag away their own red buff here, but poke damage raining in from the sides from Robbie. Again. Pushing on the side lanes is Porsche. They are going to try to focus towards the Karma, but she's quick. Robbie Bob able to get that distance away. Porsche pushing solo on this bottom side. Nobody looking to respond there, and just keeping Pulse on the back foot as they have complete control over the jungle, layering down that vision on the Baron side in particular, as they know that buff's going to be up in about 50 seconds.
Well, at the very least, it's looking like we're going to have the next fight be around a big objective, because so far it doesn't look like they want to overcommit. Reppy has teleport, so they are sending Reppy towards bot side to try and push the wave, and it's just waiting for that last moment to come through. But Bullstar is reaching the point where they need to find that one fight to turn around the game. Lotus is just in a really, really comfortable spot.
For sure here. Looking to be the first ones to set up. Pulse sticking to the bottom side this time. Will be spawning later than the Baron, but does mean a lot more to them than it does to Lotus. Let's try to keep the wave up in their face, give them that space to walk through mid lane uninterrupted and unseen. Baron spawning on up. He's arrived to the rift, and Lotus are going to be the ones to start it off.
They want to start it as quickly as possible, because this also means that Dragon, when it spawns, is going to have advantage for Pulsar, but it's dying quite quickly. Only 2 members. Yeah, it has to be given up. There's nothing they can do to contest this, and with 4 seconds for Dragon, there's a chance to actually try and fight it.
Yeah, Reppy going in.
Actually,
for the they're just going to all focus in on towards the Dragon. It looks like Lotus are just saying, all right, we got no chance here. Just beeline it down mid lane. Let's get some turrets while we have the time. And can they interrupt some recalls? Mixture not even going to risk it. They're just going to rip their way through that inner and going to start marching forward to get on towards the inhibitor. Can they take a whole dang inhibitor for this Dragon Soul to try to make things work? They're going to back away after just the tower.
It doesn't look like they will get the inhibitor after the soul was given up, and now the question begins to arise. Is the Baron enough to be able to break down Pulsar, or will they survive long enough that this Dragon actually matters? Because they gave up the soul for this, and the next important objective is going to be that Elder, around the same timing for the Baron buff, so they have to find a lot of value off of this Baron buff on the side of Lotus.
Yeah, and you have to find fights where Kryra is able to reset, Shockey's able to get resets on the World Ender, and keep the fight going long. If you can get into that sort of position, that's where you're going to get the most value out of the Ocean Soul. They get bursted out too early, it's just not going to matter.
As they are pushing mid lane, they have the soul in their favor, and also they know Robbie Bobby's down bot side, so they probably were feeling comfortable enough to be able to pull this. It looks like they probably are going to wait for the next fight or big objective, Gordo. It feels like.
Yeah, we're going to be dragging this one out for a long run here, TDS. Is the Baron buff still available? Can the Lotus find a way to put together some sort of push here? They're at least going to try to get themselves some inners. Will Pulse be able to put up any kind of defense, or will the gold lead continue to build? They take control over the jungle. They're going to move on towards bot lane inner. This is going to drop easily. Some more and more money getting funneled into the Lotus pockets. Will they get the chance to spend it before the next fight? That's what they're hoping for.
That's the hope, that's the idea, that's what they really want, but we have to wait and see if that's how it's going to work out, as the wave it's getting pushed in mid lane, in bot lane as well, and a poke from Robbie Babo.
Oh, caught way out of position there. Is just pulled back in by Lunar, but already lost a substantial portion of their health bar. That's going to be the Fate's call on cooldown, as is the World Ender. Shockey using that tool as well, just to be a bigger threat in the fight. Now both of those ultimates no longer available. Porsche is still pushing with the Baron buff on towards the inhib. It's going to fall. Bot lane inhib turret goes down as well, and they're not slowing down for Lotus. They want to get more of this off the Baron. Advancing forward. Here comes the engage. They get the quickness on the four member. Shockey is melting so fast. Force goes on a rampage. Taken down. Robbie Bob providing supporting fire on the side, as nobody on Lotus has been touched at all. Pop Blossom is here. Is it too late though? They get the reset onto Mixture. Kryra trying to take the rest of the fight, but has to Heartbreaker back to safety. It's a 1-for-2 fight so far, and Lotus are already working on towards the Nexus. Reppy's health bar dropping lower and lower. Kryra's much the same, and Lotus find the fight. They don't even need to stop the push. They take the game and move on to 4-1.
They get the perfect angle at the end there. They find the pick onto the Nautilus. He survives, but they take so much off of the potential fighting power from Poolstar, and just like that, they finish the game after that big fight. Important that they were able to do so with the Baron buff, because obviously the Ocean Soul may end up stacking much more if they were able to survive long enough. But there goes a little bit of the show of why the composition from Lotus was so fine at that spot. You have great scaling champions forcing on 5 items pretty much, and then Poolstar was just trying to hold on to hope with as much as they could, but it wasn't enough simply.
Yeah, absolutely. And the rewards here are absolutely huge for Lotus.
Yep.
They find themselves in a really solid group here, having moved on to 4-1. Looks like that group draw already completed as well. Lotus find themselves in Group D with Team Fish Taco, themselves, Reluminate, and BlackRock. So seeing BlackRock in there once again. Ravi Bob gonna wave hello to his old teammates for a second time.
Yeah, but I gotta say, what a group to actually be facing here, as it was going to be a tough matchup if you're able to reach some of the groups. But this is what we were talking about, the seeding. This group is looking quite difficult. Reluminate pretty much feeling like one of the surprises of the tournament, to say it like that. With their performance, they ended up being 3-2, if I'm not wrong. Plus BlackRock being able to achieve the 3-2 as well. The only thing that kind of surprises me is how it also ends up being the TFT group. I was expecting another one, but you just get one of the two. So you either get Winthrop or you get the other two.
Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, Polestar find themselves seated into Group B with their 3-2 finish. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, they didn't get too bad of a group themselves either. It's going to be Blue Otter, Polestar, Illinois State, and Nigel's Last Tiles. So definitely an escapable group here for Polestar as well.
Exactly, not the end of the world, and the group stage is going to be really fun. Also, just want to do a quick call out because we saw them today, but Misfits and luckily weren't able to qualify. They were on the 2-2-1, so unlucky in that. And this is what happens to a lot of the other teams, right? Like the 2-2 bracket is the heartbreaker one. Glad that Lotus wasn't there, but there was a lot of teams there that could have been a difference maker, like Clown, for example.
Yeah. Other teams that we've gotten to see here, Castleberry, they make it through at 3-2. They are going to be moving on to the next round as well. They get themselves a tough group for it as a very low-seeded 3-2 team, but that's just how that cookie crumbles sometimes. going to definitely be a very fun group stage. So, I mean, stay tuned. Community streaming, we are told, is still going to be a thing coming through the rest. It's just up to who they select to be the community streamers. So we'll start to find out early on in this coming week. And hopefully somebody's going to be around to bring you these games live on the tournament realm coming into next week. But that's going to do it for the open qualifiers. Thank you to everybody who's hung out with us this weekend. Thanks to Lotus for allowing us to cover their games over the course of this weekend. And congrats to them on the 4-1 end. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you all next time. Each Champions League will be back this next Friday.